Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined by our executive and life coach, our leadership consultant from Color Your Strengths, Marian Edmondson, joining us live again today here on the podcast. And we're so ecstatic she's back here to talk more about her work and, of course, how she's helping so many people. Welcome. How are you today, darling?
Thank you, Jill. I'm happy to be back. I'm doing well. Glad that we're getting better weather in New York, so
Oh,
feeling
I
good
know.
these
I
days.
know. Fellow Long
Mhm.
Islander, right? You're based out of Long Island, New York.
Yes, yes, I am in Westbury.
Oh my goodness. And you've been doing this for quite some time. Tell us a little overview about Color Your Strengths and what it is that you do.
Yeah, so I focus a lot on working with people who are in some sort of transition. That just tends to be the type of people that are drawn to my work because a lot of what I do is centered in building confidence from within. And so when people are experiencing some type of transition, it's usually a moment in which they're feeling less confident, less secure, because you're dealing with ambiguity, you're uncertainty, you're not sure of what lies ahead. And that can rock your world a little bit. And so I tend to work with folks to focus on building their strengths from within, identifying what's already natural that they do well, tapping into what those natural talents are, and then figuring out how to create a more and cultivate a positive mindset around what they're capable of, and just build that confidence to a point where they feel really good about what they bring to the table in this next step in their life.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. And I know, you help people navigate so many different types of challenges. And I just want to point out that you are an ICF certified coach, right? Gallup certified strengths
Um,
coach as well. Just a little bit about your background for those that may not know.
I appreciate that. Yes, the Gallup's certified strengths coach work that I do allows me to sort of complement the confidence coaching work very nicely. Because again, it's all about sort of tapping into what's naturally good in you and what you're talented, what your talents are. And so being able to do that from a strengths perspective gives people a baseline that they can't sort of argue with, that, oh, okay, I can see myself in this. And that's just sort of the foundational point for us to begin the work.
Great. Well, thank you so much. So, what did you have in mind for your audience today? What did you kind of want to dive on into?
The last time we spoke, you were asking me a lot about sort of what are the steps and what's involved in the coaching practice or the process that I take with my clients. And I keep saying that a lot of the work that I do is around building confidence. And the reason why is because of what it stems from. And this thing called imposter syndrome that I know a lot of people hear about and know this term. It's become a more popular term lately. And what it really is and means is that it's a pattern of thoughts and that we have around our self-doubt, our self-esteem, and it can really create this inner negative critic that we have to be mindful of and learn to coexist with, but also learn to challenge at times so that we can start to rewrite that inner narrative of who we believe we are, our abilities, our capabilities. So I thought today we could talk a lot more about that, about this imposter syndrome and what's involved in that work.
Beautiful, not a problem. Thank you. And you mentioned confidence without compromise and authenticity. And,
Yeah.
you're helping so many with this. And let me just ask, I mean, you've been doing this, you said, for over 2 decades. You don't look old enough. But you also you used to work in HR, right?
Yes, yes.
And in
That's right.
like as a chief diversity officer, so you really are familiar with so many different fields that your clients come to you for, right? Like in particular, give me some examples of some of the people, their different fields that you can help with.
Yeah, so I've worked across multiple different industries, sports and entertainment being one that I spent a great deal of my career in, and have worked with people in healthcare, nonprofit, other nonprofit, philanthropic organizations, market research, finance. I've worked with lawyers. And as you can see, the topic remains the same across all of these different industries and professions because it's not the myth is that, oh, imposter syndrome and confidence issues only show up when you're incompetent or when you're early in your career, and that's just not the case. I work
Hmm.
with people at all different levels in their career, ranging from emerging leaders right up to the C-suite. And there's always something that we're doubting within ourselves in some capacity. And so the work that I do with my clients helps them to work through that, to challenge it, whether it's really coming from a place of reality or just, self disbelief.
Got it. And you wanted to break some more things down to us today. Where are we going with this?
Yeah, yeah. So, as I mentioned, imposter syndrome is something that gets brought up a lot. There's very few coaching engagements that I have and clients that I have where they don't say on their own, I'm dealing with this imposter syndrome. And so we tend to talk about it as more of, okay, well, what does that mean? Let's break that down. Where does that come from? And ultimately, it always stems from these limiting beliefs that we have, right? That we can't do something or we're not good enough. It may show up as trying to be a perfectionist all the time because we want to make sure that, we don't get anything wrong and no one can ever say that we didn't do this thing right. But when we set ourselves out to be perfectionists, we end up disappointing ourselves all the time because clearly no one is perfect. But it shows up as perfectionism. It shows up as, someone just not applying for the job that they think that that they are qualified for, right? And that they really want to do. It shows up as not speaking up in meetings when you have a really great idea and then hearing someone else say it later on and going, oh, I should have said that. And so a lot of the work that we do together is really around how can I find my voice? How can I challenge those thoughts when they come up that say, don't speak up, people are going to think you're not smart. And also just identifying what those triggers are that tend to make us question our abilities and how to challenge them. How to say, is that thought based in reality or is it
Hmm.
really just based in fear?
Oh my goodness. Well, that's amazing to work with people to get all this out. Now, how long are you actually working with, clients?
Yeah, our work typically can be anywhere from 6 months, some clients 3 months. If they have a targeted thing that they want, goal that they want to achieve within a short period of time, we can get there. But the deeper rooted confidence issues or self-esteem issues, I tend to recommend we need to do at least 6 months together. So within a 6 month time frame, that looks like 12 sessions roughly where we'd meet once every other week. And some even last longer than that. I've had clients that went on to meet with me for 9 months to a year, and some even
Wow.
longer. But it depends on what they have going on in their lives, and it's fluid. Life is all something's always changing and happening, and sometimes they find themselves during our engagement time needing to reset. So.
Wow. And I'm sure some of these clients become lifelong friends. It seems like I could see that happening.
Can become lifelong friends? Well,
Yes.
it's a really good question that you ask because, you know, the relationship is an intimate one, right?
Yeah.
I like to tell people all the time, coaching can be extremely therapeutic, but it is not therapy, right? I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm a certified coach, and what that means is I'm here to help guide you towards achieving a goal. I'm very future oriented. And so
Hmm.
progress is is a definite necessary aspect of the work that I do. And if I see that someone is ruminating constantly and stuck in a place where they just have the constant loop of negative thoughts, I may encourage them or recommend that they speak with a therapist. I have many of my clients work with me and a therapist at the same time, not in the same sessions, but at the, sort of simultaneously. But I always tell them I'm not a therapist. I know it feels therapeutic. And there's a line that I have to draw, right, as far as like developing friendships and that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing, because it is an intimate relationship.
Oh, got it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And do you want to share some of your client stories and experiences without using their names, of course, but give us some more insight into the work that you're doing on a daily basis and
Yeah.
helping people, guiding them?
I'm happy to. So I have worked with a client, I'll say his name was Joseph. That's just a random name, right? And Joseph was a senior executive in a large financial organization and was operating at one of the most senior executive levels that you could possibly achieve there, and still constantly felt like he had to show up with a mask every day, had to sort of be this perfect version of himself,
Mm-hmm.
and that he couldn't bring himself, who he really was, other aspects of his personality to his role because he was fearful that people would judge it or that they wouldn't like it, that they didn't want to see to work with
Mm-hmm.
that part of Joseph. And a lot of the work that we did was around how do you marry the two? How do you not leave this part of you behind? But how do you find ways to authentically and organically weave it into who you are in a professional environment so that people can find you more relatable, that they see you as an authentic leader, and don't view you as this impeccable, untouchable person on a pedestal, which was happening. And as a result, a lot of his team members, the people that he led, just felt like they couldn't build and form a genuine relationship with him, and there was a disconnect. And so, through the work that we were able to do together, he was able to find natural ways to bring his true self to the forefront, and without having to we be an open book about his personal life, right? Yeah.
I love hearing this. Thank you so much. Color Your Strengths, by the way, Marian Edmondson joining us. If you are just tuning in, just want to let you know who we are speaking to. And she's excited to be here and really as a coach. And she's helping those with, even areas of transitioning, changing jobs, right? Retirement, career pivots, as you say, becoming a parent to adult children. There's a lot of different things going on with life that you can help people with. And just curious, have you ever been coached by someone? And if so, for what in particular that you needed some guidance with? Because, right, even coaches need to be coached, they
Yes.
say.
Oh, absolutely. It's like every therapist should have their own therapist. It's the same thing for
Yeah.
coaches. And I still have a coach. And I have the first time I was exposed to coaching or just received coaching myself was when I went into a position of senior leadership within my organization and realized, okay, I'm going to be leading a much larger group of people, different functions, and this is going to tap in something different for me. And I found that I needed help with showing up more authentically, that I was very accustomed to mirroring what I thought leadership looked like. And so many of us do that, right? We are inspired by leaders and we want to be like them. And we say, oh, this is what the epitome of great leadership is. But great leadership requires authenticity. It requires that you show up as yourself, and my coach helped me to think about and we did strengths work together, which was my first exposure to how valuable it was tapping into what was natural in me and what my strengths were, and then owning them and starting to say, okay, this is how I can apply those strengths intentionally to achieving the goals that I have in building more natural and authentic relationships, in being more collaborative in the workforce, in the work environment, and leading teams of different, diverse people who communicate differently, who work differently, and figuring out how to hold space for all of us to show up as our best selves.
I love it. Thank you. And just your calming energy, your willingness to help. It's authenticated just right here by feeling you, seeing you. Are a lot of your clients on Zoom like we are today, or are they over the phone? How do in
Yes.
person? What do you do mostly?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, a lot of my clients I do meet with virtually. I meet with clients all over, so not just in New York and the tri-state area, but I support clients from all different cities, all different states across the U.S. But I also meet with folks in person. When we're in New York, I meet in person. When I'm traveling, and I know I'm traveling to a city where a client is based, I will arrange to meet them in person there. I think that it's nice to be able to have that personal touch from time to time, but so much can be accomplished in this new virtual environment that we have, I feel like it allows me to really zoom myself literally into people's lives and vice versa.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you again for sharing that. Now, also, I'll ask you, what else did you want to share for today? I'm sorry, since I don't have specifics, let me make sure we're covering everything that's important to you for today.
Yeah, no, I think this is great. What I want to sort of reiterate about the work that I do is really that it's about just sort of cultivating ultimately a positive mindset, thinking about yourself in a positive way as well, and remembering that the voice that you, or the words that you hear, everything that you hear, it comes out of your mouth first and foremost. So speak kindly to yourself and say the things that you want to believe about yourself. Remind yourself of who you are, and and don't be afraid to question or challenge the voices in your head. The voices in your head are literally just emotions running wild. If you've seen the In and Out movies, you know that they are literally just different personas that live in our heads and take on a life of their own if we don't acknowledge them, work with them, and sometimes fact check them, right? And put them in their place, so that we can be reminded.
So we could be reminded of, I lost you there for a second. I'll pick back up
Yeah.
on. You said, so we could be reminded of.
Oh, so that we can be reminded of the gifts that we have to contribute.
Th-
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. We froze for a
No
second. All right,
problem.
good, good, good.
Yes.
And you clearly are passionate about what you do, and as far as working with people to see them achieve success and to how do I say? I can't say be cured, right? But you get fixed in a sense, and you learn, what's new. You take on new objectives. Is there anything for someone at home today who may want to transition into coaching to make themselves better, their work better, their personal issues better? Is there any techniques that you can suggest for us to be doing every day? Do you have any? Do you live by any? I got to wake up. You should be doing positive affirmations. You should.
Yep.
What are some little things that we could start doing at home?
Yes. So I'm a big meditator, a big believer in meditating. And I think that it is a powerful tool to just keep ourselves centered and to remind yourself that, you are in control of how you feel. And that is something that you can manage, and grounding yourself in gratitude and in, just the basics of things that we should be grateful for, like the breath that we take every day, naturally without having to think about it, is really powerful. And so I suggest meditation. I also suggest self-reflection in the form of journaling. I think that is also another powerful way for you to be reminded of how it is that you really feel, what you experience, how far you've come, right? Where you were
Yeah.
yesterday is not necessarily where you are today. And if you can look back on that in black and white, it can really be a powerful tool to keep you thinking positively and moving forward.
Thank you. All right, Marian, what else did you have in store for us today?
I'm just happy to be here. I think I appreciate your questions and the things that you've mentioned, just even about how to show up as a coach and what's involved in that. As you were talking about, whether I make friends with my with my clients and so on, are things that most people don't think about when they think about coaching. Um, and I always, when I meet with someone for the first time, ask them if they've ever worked with a coach before. And then I explain fully what the process is and what they can expect. And that I'm not here to fix you, but I'm here to be sort of a support and even a mirror reflection of what I see in you and someone to help draw out the potential in you, to unlock some of the whatever's blocking your potential and help you to see a clear way forward and give you some structure and accountability. So
Yeah, we need some of that. Yeah.
that's that. I like to give someone just an overview of what and folks an overview of coaching and what it is so they know what they can anticipate and see themselves, leveraging it in different ways.
Beautiful. We still have a few more minutes left in the show. And if you are just tuning in, would love to remind everyone that Color Your Strengths is here and Marian Edmondson. And we're talking about all the ways that her coaching company can help you with on site virtual leadership. We're talking developmental workshops, retreats, even. Do you have any retreats coming up? And just curious, give us some insights into, how those go about, how they work.
So retreats can be different depending on the need. When I typically do retreats with organizations, it's usually some team work, coaching work that we
Mm-hmm.
do it around. And sometimes it's just they want, me to come in and engage folks in getting to know each other better in a safe space. And so I like to consider myself a bit of a container for that. I create a dynamic that is safe for people to show up as themselves. But then also, I usually guide them in letting them know that there are some guidelines that we're going to adhere to before we even embark on this time together today. So folks know that we have to be respectful. We don't want to judge folks, right? But that we want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable showing up and participating fully. Some of the work that I do is very active in engaging activities where it may be something that helps people to learn how to trust one another and build trust together as a team. Or we do some fun activities where they have to design something that is aligned with a goal that they have as an organization, but in a fun element. That gets their creative juices flowing. And I think the best ones are when we're able to take things away from that and they can go back and start to implement it. That's really it feels like success to me. And then some of the retreats that I do are more centered around just working with people who have a vested interest in creating a space of well-being, better well-being for themselves. And so they may be wanting to do some really deep-rooted inner critic work, some imposter syndrome work, and that I may do with a group of people working towards the same goal, but that are not a team, don't work together. It may not even be a work environment. It's simply just these are group coaching sessions where it's someone who says, I want to work on confidence and dealing with this imposter syndrome, and I want to do it in an environment where I'm supported by a community of other people who are working through the same thing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for today. So insightful as always.
Oh, my pleasure. I enjoy it. Thank you.
Well, tell us how we can reach out to you. Would you mind sharing the website, phone number, any form of contact so we could reach out with any questions?
Absolutely. If anyone wants a consultation, I do free consultations, 30-minute consultations, and you can find that and reach me through my website at coloryourstrengths.com. You can reach me directly via email at Marian, Marian, at coloryourstrengths.com. And yes, that's the perfect way to reach me. I'm also on LinkedIn under Marian Edmondson. And feel free to connect if I can help and support you in any way.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you back and looking forward to the next conversation. Thanks so much.
Same here. Thanks so much as always, Jill.
Bye bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.